Yo, I'm out here for a long trail run here in the Colorado backcountry, and just wanted to share a couple of thoughts. However you're out there living your life right now, if it's working a 9 to 5 or skiing all day, climbing all day, whatever, running up and down mountains monotonously, as long as it makes you happy, keep fucking doing that shit. Chase what makes your heart light its flame. It's a beautiful thing to live a life of passion.
Tucker, what's up?
Oh, not much, man. I am sitting here in Kittredge, Colorado, just soaking up some sun right now. It's a nice 55 degrees outside here, and there's no wind blowing. I'm just taking it easy, bro. How about you?
Oh man, beautiful day down there. I bet in the mountains. Yeah, good weather down here too. Texas weather. It's a little windy, but nothing to complain about.
Mm-hmm.
So, walk me through. Explain to my audience what you do a little bit, because I've been following you on the gram for a little bit. We went to high school together, and then I've seen you. I've kept up with your posts, your content. Some of those pictures, man, they look pretty incredible. Talk to me a little bit about that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. I guess I could start by saying that I'm primarily a like climber and like an outdoorsman. I spend a lot of time backpacking and most of my time rock climbing. And on top of that, I like to capture like all of the things that I'm doing. I've kind of always been into the arts, and photography has always been something that I've had a knack for. And so, whenever I moved out to Colorado, I just started bringing my camera along with me, and just started taking photos. So I guess, during the winter time, I do lift operations at a super small mountain here in the Front Range of Colorado. And in the
Oh
summertime,
hell yeah!
yeah. And in the summertime, I work construction with my buddies so that I can get off basically whatever time that I need to go backpacking and rock climbing, basically as much as possible.
Hell
So
yeah!
I guess, yeah, you just say I was an outdoor recreationalist, and every right.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely noticed you mix, you balance that business and pleasure very well, very well. Definitely, I can see that you make time to do what you want to do.
For sure. Yeah, no doubt. That's been a primary objective kind of in, I guess, the decisions that I've made leading up to now.
Yeah, so walk me through that decision making. How did you go about moving to Colorado? How did you decide that you were going to be able to dedicate this amount of time to stuff like this?
Yeah. So I guess whenever I moved up to Colorado, I had just finished a year at University of North Texas in Denton. I did a year there studying music, and during that spring break, I had visited one of my best friends named Miles Moore up here in Colorado, and he took me out hiking and took me out snowboarding while I was here, and it just kind of convinced me that I had to come out. It was kind of one of those things where whenever I realized that he was able to do this stuff that I considered a vacation almost every single, weekend, I just couldn't resist like coming out west. Um, yeah, once I got out west, I kind of got involved with. I was out for university, so I transferred from University of North Texas to University of Colorado Denver in the city, and I continued to take music there. And I guess kind of what happened was I got into some courses that I was basically having to retake because they wouldn't transfer from my previous university. And they kind of just they started making me sick of music. Kind of, I was retaking a lot of theory courses, and so I decided to transition into a photography and film major. Um,
For sure.
yeah, and so once I got into that, it was partially kind of what got me into going outside. I kind of, I guess I just found the outdoors as a place where, when I moved out here, I could, I didn't have very many people to connect with. And I guess going outside and being in a space where I felt independent kind of made me feel a little more secure in being out here all by myself. But that being said, uh, taking the photography classes alongside kind of getting in the outdoors just kind of got me involved. And it was just kind of all like all downhill from there. I just got more and more sucked into the outdoors and more involved with the scene when it came to climbing specifically. Um, and yeah, over time, it's kind of enveloped and developed itself into, something that it's almost like I'm kind of following it rather than it following me, or if that makes sense.
No, hell yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's a good way to put it.
Totally.
Yeah, no, I think that people they underestimate it, but like where you live, the kind of things that you're surrounded by, what you do in your free time. I mean, that just becomes such a huge part of who you are and what you do and just your everyday life that I mean, shit makes me want to move somewhere where I can take those vacations and make them weekends and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. Weekdays even.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just get off work and just have that view. I mean, I've visited as much as I can. We've never been able to come up there with there's full snow on the ground, full blankets.
Yeah.
But man, dude, and I mean, I grew up skating, so I can't wait to get out there on a board.
Heck yeah, totally. Dude, there's some amazing longboarding spots out here, no doubt. Some great skate parks.
Hell yeah. So walk me through like how much planning and what goes into your schedule. How reliant are you on a schedule? Do you have one? What does it kind of look like when you set up some of these travel dates?
Yeah. So in the wintertime, my schedule is a bit more rigid. And it's kind of like my working season, my main working season. I like work full time at the mountain that I work at, just operating the lifts up there. So during the winter time, I purely get out whatever days that I have off. And so I'll usually work on the mountain 5 days a week, and then I will go snowboarding or rock climbing my 2 days off. However, when the summer rolls around, working construction and I do driveways basically. I build driveways and I seal coat driveways with some of my friends. And I guess I've kind of built a schedule around not having to be so planned out. Um, I've definitely found benefit in planning trips out way farther in advance. However, I would say that like most of my schedule just kind of like comes up, and I just kind of like do stuff as it comes along. During the summertime, I'm lucky. I'm super super grateful and lucky to be like in a position where I'm able to kind of go to my boss and just say like, hey, like I want to go backpacking or rock climbing in Wyoming or Utah or just here somewhere in Colorado for the next week, and I'll be back in a week. And he'll basically just say, all right, just text me when you're back. So
Sweet.
yeah, it's I guess over the past 4 years since I've moved to Colorado, it's been like something that's developed. I think I searched for something that would eventually give me the opportunity to have a lax schedule in the summertime and to kind of have things come up on a whim and be able to act on them. For the first couple of years living here, it was more planned out. Like I would have a date and I would go then after I formally asked off 2 weeks in advance or more for jobs that I was working in the summertime. But I've been lucky to be in a position the past couple of years that has allowed me some freedom with that.
Hell yeah. How has the pandemic affected your travels, if any?
Well, I really just stayed around here, around Colorado, around locally. Really, I'm lucky also to be in a place that, I really don't have to go far to feel like I'm having a good adventure or, like I'm enjoying, the place that I'm in. Like yeah, I don't know. I guess my work, I was lucky to not have too much affected by the pandemic. But I chose during the pandemic to stay around, essentially within 30 miles, 40 miles of, where I live here in Colorado.
For
Just
sure.
mainly because I was spooked out by it at the time. And, mainly also because I didn't want to be the cause of traveling somewhere, more rural than where I live. And possibly putting someone in a situation, getting them sick,
Yeah,
so.
I mean that's the thing. It's caution, and everybody's got their own way of going about it. I think I've got a pretty big family. I think everybody in my family's definitely got their different ways of going about it and what they will and won't do. But
Right. You and me
it's
both.
just about protecting yourself so you can protect others.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I guess it was just I came at it from the I guess that I am not going to be super heavily affected by this, but if I get it and I affect someone else, it's possible that they will. And I think it put me in a good spot for most of the time, and I feel good about the way or what I did, where I spent my time during that period of time. We're really lucky also here in Colorado to be experiencing a lot of drops in cases, and we have this colored system here that goes on like green, yellow, and red, and for COVID cases, that is, and we've been able to drop them down to the green level in a lot of spaces. So Colorado's been seeing finally kind of coming out of it a little bit. It's not like we're totally seeing the end of it, but you can totally see the light at the end of the tunnel now, and it's feeling a lot better. So I'm excited to get on the road this summer and get that vaccine, both doses, and kind of be on the road again.
Oh yeah, what's that going to look like? What are some of your next travels, or what are some of the bucket list things that you look at doing once we're free?
Totally, yeah. So I'll be coming down after finishing work here in the next month or so. I'll be coming down to Texas to do a little bit of climbing down near Fredericksburg in a place called Enchanted Rock, and then following
Oh
that,
hell yeah.
yeah, it's a beautiful area out there if you haven't been. Some really wonderful like domes of granite that are just fantastic. But anyways,
Hell yeah, I'll have to come check it out.
yeah, you definitely should. There's a yeah. On top of that, I'll be traveling hopefully to Wyoming up to a place called Beta Woo here in the spring to do some rock climbing there, and then probably going to be doing lots of alpine climbing and just some sport climbing down here in the Front Range of Colorado for a good portion of the summer. It's hard to beat the weather out here in the middle of the summer. Like it can be, you know, July, and most of our days will run around 70 to 80 degrees.
Oh man, I
So
wish. Oh man.
dude, right?
Yeah, I mean, you grew up here, so you know at 110, 120 feels like 130. It's crazy.
Dude, yeah, weather that you could cook an egg on a pothole with.
Yeah, it's wild, and it's just getting hotter.
Yeah, dude, no doubt. And y'all are getting crazy snows on the other end too.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal. Definitely wasn't prepared for that snowstorm that we had a couple of weeks back, about a month
Yeah,
ago. The coldest winter, or the coldest weather that we had for the longest period since like 1945 in Dallas. It's crazy.
dude, yeah, it's weird to like live through an actual historical event.
Yeah,
Like,
it'll go down in the history books.
dude, no doubt. Yeah, I'll be in Texas. I'll be in Wyoming. Mainly in Colorado. Hoping to do a little bit in Utah as well, and then possibly towards the middle of the summer, hopefully could get out to Washington to do some climbing out there. I live out of my car during the summertime, so
Oh hell yeah.
this will be the first summer that I'll be really given that a full go for the entire like 6-7 months that I'll be not working at the ski area, instead doing the construction. So it makes it really easy living in the car to kind of just be like, all right, well, I'm gonna pack all my things up and go to Washington, mainly because all my things are already in one
Yeah,
spot.
always packed. That's great. That's great.
Exactly.
I'm a big proprietor for tiny homes. So like I want to do a couple shipping containers here eventually.
Yes.
I say in the next couple years, but that's unlikely. So eventually long term that'll be the goal, but I've always told myself you got to van life it for a few years before that.
No doubt. It's humbling, and yeah, like the closer that I get to it, the more that I minimalize, and I've learned a lot just from the beginning steps of like getting into it, and I'm excited to kind of see like what that brings to my life. The more that I involve myself with it.
Hell yeah. With what you've done already, what are some of the ups and downs of just living on the road?
Huh. Um. Well, so like having a bathroom, that's one of the main things.
Always,
Obviously.
always, yeah.
Yeah, like oh man, like waking up in the morning, like first thing you gotta get in that car and you gotta go somewhere and figure that out. But I mean, really, like for a good portion of the summer, I camp in national forest land, and I'm like actually literally setting up a tent and camping and stuff. So it's not too hard to like go out and dig a hole and stuff like that. Like
Hell yeah.
after I've been getting used to it for a while, like that's something that you know you just kind of deal with. That and like showers are something that's kind of like hard to work with. However, for this season, I'll be hoping to get it's called a solar shower. It's basically something that I put on the roof of my car. It heats up water throughout the day, so that at the end of the day, I can take a warm shower without having to go to a Planet Fitness
Hell
or
yeah.
something.
Hell yeah.
Um, I guess outside of that, honestly, honestly, being lonely is like kind of a big thing on the road. Like when you're traveling, like it's easy to like to see where you are, you know, in the scheme of what your plan is with your life and like that story and everything. However, like indulging so much into one thing like it just often leads to like spending way more time than I guess a lot of people consider when living on the road by yourself.
Yeah, most definitely.
So yeah, it's just kind of like finding those groups to connect with is super important, and having people that you communicate with, like even when you are out there by yourself, you know that's huge because you know you just spend too much time away from a lot of people sometimes, and um, yeah, the lifestyle kind of bodes to, I would say on another end, separate from that point, the lifestyle bodes to a little bit of judgment. So like, you know, it's something that I don't necessarily bring up with everyone,
Yeah.
unless sometimes it's either asked or, you know, or it's just like I have to say something about it, because a lot of people will kind of like look at me crooked, especially like a lot of people growing up in the suburbs and you know being in Frisco, Texas area, like that was definitely a place that you know I'm nervous to like go back and speak that you know truth to people about what I'm doing, because it's something that people kind of look down on.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I can totally see where you're coming from. Like, I try not to do it so much on this show because I've got another show where I talk movies and that's just all we do. But there's a really good movie coming around this time of year. It's an Oscar movie called Nomadland. If you haven't seen it,
Totally, yeah, just watched that.
oh, what did you think of that then?
Man, I thought it was amazing, and truly, I thought that like I think that it goes into a little bit more realistic perspective of the romanticized idea that a lot of people have of like what it all means to kind of live that life.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was interesting to see like the way that they portrayed it. Yeah, in that film compared to like what it's like, you know.
Yeah, no, it was really real. I think that it floated an idea across that a lot of people should kind of take more note on. It's that when you're alone by all this time just by yourself, at first, that can help your ego a lot. That can really, give your sense of self what it needs, kind of wake you up. But
Exactly.
then, like you said, it's a double-edged sword. You've got too much time by yourself, that can ruin your ego too. And so I think that Nomadland was a really good example of that. I don't know. I mean, I feel what you're saying, especially with like the Frisco crowd. Like, it's just not the vibe. It's not the energy that they give off.
Right. Yeah, the idea, you know, in a lot of places in the U.S., even is just that you kind of like you have it together, and you're sacrificing your life to something that just kind of makes it work, and that you can make everything, or that you can pay for everything with, and yeah, like yeah, it definitely gave the right viewpoint, you know, of both the
Yeah.
negatives and the positives, and I think that yeah, like the part just about being alone on the road stuff. Yeah, just like you said, it's kind of like one of those things where yeah, you know what you're doing out there, but at the same time, it's easy to convince yourself that like nobody cares and nobody's like nobody like not that nobody loves you or is like I guess maybe when you don't hear from people, you know?
Yeah, no, it's easy to separate yourself. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, and like whenever you're out there, like all you have to focus on a lot of times is that, like thinking about, you know, what is this person doing? What is that person doing? It's not like you're sitting around like, you know, watching stuff all day long. You don't have internet, you know, and like you're just kind of you have a lot of time to think, and that can be great. Yeah, just like you said, good and bad.
Yeah, no, definitely. Me and some of my friends have been talking about just in general, ego, just waking up, all that kind of stuff. And I think that a lot of them kind of underestimate the fact that, like, yes, we're talking about it in a group right now, but part of it is the fact that you need to go by yourself and then also think about what we've been talking about. What do you think about what we said?
Yeah,
Because I
good
mean, it's
point.
great to sit there and talk about it with your friends or to listen to a podcast about it, but at the end of the day, it's all about that self. It starts from the inside. Um,
Yeah, no doubt.
but I mean, we all wish. I think that all of us kind of, because what started that conversation was one of our friends moved away for a job, and he lost that job due to COVID, and then now he got bounced back to where he's living, and then pretty immediately, abruptly moved to another place for another job.
Totally.
And we were just kind of talking about how that's great opportunities, that's cool, but we kind of got into that like spiritual deep level, and we were like, but is that really what's best? Because if we're talking about like long term, like this person's wife and kids, like this person's family, I mean,
Right.
you look at the woman or the wife that you're gonna marry or the person that you're gonna be with. You want that shared similarity. You want that shared sense of home, and it'd be
Mm,
a lot easier if, for example, you were talking to only girls that grew up in the area that you grew up in. To a degree, it's you can't wait until you can go to college because you can talk to new girls and people that don't know you in a new area. But in the
right.
grand scheme of things, long term, long term, it would be a lot easier to find your true quote unquote soulmate if, you kept around those people that had those shared similarities. But when we sacrifice and we move for a job or something, like you said, that's just going to pay the bills or something to put food on the table,
Right.
you might lose that connection or that chance at connection with those people that are really, are like you because they come from the same place, they do the same things.
Totally, man.
And
And
so I
like,
don't know. It was a whole big conversation, but we just kind of ended it off on I wish more people, if they were gonna make a big life changing move, they would do it kind of like you did and base it off of internal wants and needs, and aside from physical, I need to eat, I need to pay my bills. Like this is what I want to be doing. Because then the person that you're gonna be around, the people that you're gonna surround yourself with, whether it's friends, family, girlfriends, whatever it is, those people are going to have that same vibe because they're in the same area for the same thing. You know what I mean?
right. Well, and that's, I think like when you get above it all, like love and passion, those things transcend like practically everything, and like just there's nothing that compares, like there is no amount of money in your bank account that would compare to like truly waking up in the morning and knowing that your day is filled with things that A, you love, and B, you have heart and passion for. Like it's not necessarily tangible, but you can feel that, and I think that like like living your life based off those feelings rather than external circumstance is the way that it should be done, and it's mainly just I think that we're taught, throughout our life. I think it's just kind of that consumerist idea, that kind of drags us down back to, thinking like, oh well, maybe I guess I should sacrifice, all of my good friends, so that I can hit them all up for a multi-level marketing scheme and try and get them all to buy into something that I don't really care about. Like, that stuff when you're 70, when you're 80, like you're gonna look back on that and you're gonna think like, man, like, I wish I would have spent that time, really indulging in the people that I had around me, and like not wasting it on kind of, yeah, using myself as a medium for things that are not even necessarily attached to me, like a company, or whether that be like a company or a person or a product, whatever. It's it's fulfilling to live your life, even if it's harder. And like whatever, yeah, whatever comes with that, harder might just be the right word.
Yeah, no,
To
I
live it,
totally agree. I totally
yeah, in a
agree.
passionate way.
That's kind of my motto, is to make life worth living, MLWL. So like
Hell
you
yeah,
turn around at the end of your life, like you're 80, 90 years old. Can you honestly say that those decisions, those sacrifices, every second that you did something, was it worth it, to get you where you're at, to have what you have? I think that most people just kind of, they think about that in the short term, but they don't think about that in the long term.
exactly.
And I don't know, I wish more people did.
Right, and they think about. I think it's a short-term pleasures. It's a lot of things like, oh well, I'll be comfortable. I'll be really comfortable in my life, and that's a short-term pleasure. Comfort ends,
Yeah,
and once
dude, I
comfort,
hate that word. Like, just even just that just makes me cringe. Is the fact that that's what they're settling for, is settling to be comfortable. It's like, oh man,
ooh, right. Oh man, gave me goosebumps
yeah, it's
now.
wild. It's wild.
Heck yeah.
We talked a lot about what you do, outside. You're huge on taking adventures, taking trips. You're always busy. But what do you do when you're just hanging out at your house? Just what do you do when you're logging on your phone? What do you find yourself scrolling through?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, when I'm at home, I'm honestly like on YouTube a lot and watching climbing videos, and I mean, really, I hate to be that isolated, but I truly do
No,
just
it's true. I mean, that's the thing. People, birds of a feather, they say. That's all it is.
right. Yeah, like I'll get back home and I'll crack a few beers open and I'll watch some climbing footage just like all night long. I don't know. I just kind of run through YouTube and like watch stuff that inspires me, and I read a lot of like books on climbing and mountaineering. And outside of that stuff, I'm either like editing photos or putting videos together. Yeah, but a lot of the time, truly, it's just watching YouTube videos on climbing to get stoked for when I go out next.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, that's really it.
What do you use to edit your photos? What do you shoot on? What do you edit with? Kind of walk me through your process.
Totally. So I shoot on a Sony A7. I have two A7s that I shoot on, and those are kind of my lighter weight stuff. And whenever I'm kind of shooting, like I guess stuff that I don't mind carrying a heavier camera on, I shoot on my Canon 6D,
Oh hell
which is
yeah.
an older camera. Yeah, but I mean, it does the job so
Dude, that
well.
thing's
And
a beast.
anyways,
Yeah. It's hard to outdo that thing. It's hard to upgrade from there.
yeah, and I mean, gosh, I swear I've been in the worst weather with that camera. I have held that thing straight into the wind on like some of the most rainy and snowy days, and it's just put up with anything. But I use Sony and Canon. Sony mainly when I'm like going long distances because they're way more lightweight. But stuff I use to edit would be Lightroom for my photos. I use mostly Lightroom. Practically never use Photoshop. It's usually just like color grading
Yeah.
and a little bit of like fine tuning in Lightroom.
Do you edit on a computer or a laptop?
I edit on a laptop. Yeah, just a little 14-inch or 13-inch. I don't even know MacBook,
Oh yeah. No,
and
I'm a
then
huge Mac guy, so.
I edit my videos on Adobe.
Oh hell
Oh,
yeah.
totally. Well, I've never been able to get off of them since I was a freaking middle schooler. Once I got all my photos on iPhoto, like it was just there was no coming back.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. We got them when we were kids, and now it's like I look at like switching or like building a PC and like going into it, and I just can't part with the fact that like right now, for example, when we finish with this recording, I'll be able to bounce it to my phone, have it on my iPad, have it on my Mac, and be able to access it from anywhere, whether I want to
Exactly.
clip it or work on a little bit or full on overhaul it and do the whole thing. I've got it on all my desktops, all my airdrops, all of my iCloud, whatever, new term that they want to come up with for it, it's all there. So
Right.
click of a button, I can have whatever I need. But I don't know. I'd like to
Yeah,
switch.
they've been on that interconnectivity vibe for a real long time, and
Yeah, it's great.
I think because of that, it's hard to leave them. Maybe if Microsoft and the other companies hop on hop on having the Android phones be connected with their laptops. That would be
Yeah,
convincing enough. But I don't
100%.
know. I'm too deep. I'm too deep. Maybe the next generation.
Something like that. What do you think about, like, in general? I know a lot of people, I don't know. I access most of my social media. I try to do like a clean sweep and like delete it from my phone this year and
Hmm.
be very
Dang.
proactive about, well, even though I'm a content creator, I'm going to do my best to not be a consumer of it as much as I can, cuz I know, like, I mean, I can see just by my algorithm numbers, like there are people that spend way too much time on their phone. It just is what it
Hmm.
is. So I
Yeah.
went through like a week or two. I didn't last very long, but I went through like a week or two where I only had Instagram and all that stuff on my computer. So it's like sit down at the
Hmm.
desk, figure it out, get up, go somewhere else, do somewhere else, and you can't access it. You know, you have to go on Safari and type in Facebook, all
Yeah.
that.
You
So
actually have to type it in.
yeah, so I tried that for a while, but what's your opinions just being I mean, you use, I would say, your Instagram, and I mean, you've got a site. You use it more than just a consumer. You don't just post your weekend vibe photos. You know, it's not just pictures of yourself. You're using it as a creator. What is your opinion, kind of, on social media? Because we grew up in a weird time. I mean, there wasn't Instagram when we were kids, and then when we were in middle school, it kind of became a thing, but it wasn't what it is today. And then now you can go ahead and make money on multiple different platforms. You can, have a site and sell prints, and I've seen you doing that. Like, talk to me about your kind of experience on social media, good and bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I could start with the bad. I do think that, I mean, I was even thinking about that this morning, like on the way to work, was, like, I definitely feel consumed in some aspect. I think almost everyone, unless you really just turn it all off, like you may have, and actually have to force yourself to physically, use your fingers and type something rather than just a thumb to click something. Um, I think I find myself more consumed than I'd like to be. Maybe more influenced also than I understand even sometimes. By spending time on there. Personally, like the only things that I have, like I mean, I only have social media wise. I only have Instagram on my phone. Like when I get on my Facebook, it is typed in on the computer mainly just because if I get on Facebook too much, I know it's toxic for me.
Yeah.
Probably probably everyone else. But yeah, like I think that I think that social media has a it can have a good place in someone's life if they're using it for the right reasons. Maybe like I think I think if I had social media that was only my followers and no ads, even from, or sorry, not my followers, people that I follow, and no advertisements, even from those accounts. Like if it was just pure posts from those accounts,
Yeah.
it would be healthier for just the average person. But I guess, like that being said, the world that we live in is not that way. So I think like everyone has to be mindful about the way that they use social media. Otherwise, it can become, something that has way more power than is real, or even like truly exists, to it because you're giving it that much power. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't spend too much time. Like I don't have a Twitter. I think I might have Twitters still, like old ones, but I probably haven't logged into a Twitter account since I was like in high school maybe, and I haven't ever made a TikTok. I haven't even downloaded the app. Mainly just because I know it's just gonna like eat my brain up, and I'm gonna want to spend more and more time on it. But yeah, like I guess not to ramble or anything,
Oh
but
no, that's the point of the podcast.
totally, heck yeah. Then I'll keep going. Then I think that like you know with those apps, they are made for that purpose, and I think that you have to go into social media with the mindset that the people that created this thing, they are trying to make a profit, whether you'd like to accept that or um, think that you're a part of it or not. Uh, and that being said, the moderation has to be in place and the mindfulness has to be in place. Otherwise, they're good and they will get you. You know, like
Yeah.
yeah, like I know a lot of people that just cannot put their phones down, and we'll even be in places where like you don't have any phone service at all, and they're like whipping their phones out to capture every single moment. Um, and I guess if I could keep going, like that's another thing. Yeah, like one thing that I can't. I mean, man, I can't stand it is when I work at the ski area, something that I notice a lot is that people will get there. They don't know like this is their first day on skis, first day on a snowboard, maybe even if they're like their first time around snow, and their very first time up the lift, they'll have their phone out, like videotaping the experience. And it's totally like getting off of a ski lift is totally a moment that requires some focus, like you gotta like
Exactly what
not
I
be
was
involved
thinking.
with something, right? Like you gotta not have your mind in somewhere
Is
else.
I don't want to be the guy that comes on and does it wrong or doesn't, unhook myself or I'm clipped on and I don't really like, I mean, there's so many different things. That's like bungee jumping for the first time or skydiving for the first time. Maybe not as dangerous, but is that really something that you want to have you're watching through your phone? Like, I don't know.
No, oh, exactly. Yes, like you're watching it through your phone, and like it just seems so it's so detached to
Hell
me, and
yeah.
like I guess something that I try to hold in my life is just being there. Like dude, if you want to capture something, you will have the moment to like stop and be like, hey, let's capture this. Like let's yeah, let's put this on the film or on the photo. Like, however, like, yeah, if you come at it with the aspect or with the perspective of, I'm gonna film this first. You're not actually going to experience it. You're just going to project your like ego kind of onto the situation or onto the environment. You're not actually like giving yourself that moment to just be there for it. And I think that that's something that should be more people should be more mindful about when they use social media.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I couldn't agree more. It's kind of weird because, like, I mean, I am a creator. I try to, here in the beginning of the summer, we're going to be rocking 3 shows a week. So we'll have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday show.
Oh, dang,
And
man.
it's going to be 3 completely different shows, 3 completely different social Instagram accounts. And that's just my personal ones for what we've got going at the Martyr Media. We've got a bunch of different creators that we're sponsoring that do create like
Awesome.
content of all different types. We've got people that are podcasters, people that are fitness trainers that do YouTube, Instagram videos. And so like just me personally getting my voice out there for 45 minutes, an hour, 3 times a week. I know that there are family members, friends that they do not have 3 free hours a week to sit here and listen to me BS. Like it's just not going to happen.
Right.
And that's kind of the goal, is to be able to have enough shows to where, you don't really like movies, but you like me, you're a fan of me. So then here you go. This is it. So like you want to have
Sure.
more than enough content as a creator. You want to have enough content to where somebody can log onto your page and scroll for hours. And you don't want to let your fans down, but there's that double edge where it's like, I don't want to keep you here. I mean, part of what we've been talking about today is like it's important to be able to disconnect and log off and figure your stuff out and the importance of ego, but I don't know. I mean, I hope that they're listening to all that part and they don't just click on the next video immediately after this and ignore all that stuff just to listen to the next episode we got.
Right. Yeah. Totally. No, and that's awesome, man. Heck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully here soon we'll be rocking doing a couple shows every week, and then we'll have room for people to come on and talk with me and Simon over on the Whiskey Sour Hour. Would love to have you on there. I know that
Yeah.
we'd have a great conversation on there. We've got a lot of game segments and stuff like that we're doing over there. That'll be a lot of fun.
Tight.
And then obviously stuff like Nomadland, any of those kind of movies. I'd love to have you on Movie Martyr to talk about Nomadland. That's great.
For sure. For sure. I could definitely put some info into that.
Oh yeah, well we'll do that real soon. We'll set that up. Before I get you out of here today, I want to ask, what advice do you have for anybody that's kind of on the fence or, somebody like us, I definitely think that you're a very woke individual. That's why I stayed connected with you over the years and hit you up for this episode. What advice do you have for somebody trying to live that kind of lifestyle, trying to take that leap or take that plunge that you put your position in, a couple years back?
I guess, something that I would say is to, let's see. I mean, don't be too like critical on yourself. Where you're at is where you're at, and that's all part of the process. Uh, Um, if you have an idea about the way that you want your life to go and the things that you want to do, as long as you accept that idea and take action in your life, to further that idea, at some point it will just be there for you, and things will come together. I think that, like, if you're out there and you are like thinking to yourself like, should I get out, and should I like leave my town, and should I take this chance, or should I go for this opportunity? Like, yes, 100%. Like, say yes to as much as you possibly can, and indulge in your passions as as needed. Like, when you find what you love in life, it will just capture you in a way that you almost don't have control over. So, I think that, giving yourself the space to find the things that you truly love in life and that will actually get you up in the morning with a full heart and like a prepared mind. Um, find those things, yeah, and just let them have their way. If there's been so many times in, gosh, just the last year of my life that, or at least 2 years of my life, that I've had moments that have completely defined the trajectory that I would go on, that I in no way anticipated at all, or thought would be a reality. So, like, I think really just leave space to, you know, follow whatever feels right. Um, yeah, and everything else comes like after that. Uh, yeah, that's about it.
Oh yeah, no, I really like that. That makes a lot of sense. I think that people are going to do good if they follow your advice.
I'm grateful and humbled that you think that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I appreciate you for taking the time out and setting this up with me and coming through. I can't wait to see what you've got going on next. Let my people know where they can find you. Let them know where they can check you out.
Totally, yeah. At Instagram, you can just find me at my name. It's gonna be Tucker Rowan. I can spell out TuckerRowan. My last name's easy to get wrong. And then my website's the same thing, just tuckerrowan.com. That's about all the social media that I have. Yeah, you can follow most of my adventures on Instagram.
Hell yeah, sounds good. Most definitely. I'll get a print from you too.
Heck yeah, dude.
All right, man. We'll catch you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, bro. It was good talking to you. Thanks for having me on. I'm humbled.
Thank you. I mean, like I said, really an honor to have you on. You got some wise words, and we'll be happy to have you back soon.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Stay safe, man. Take care.
Yeah, you as well, man. Bye.